San Francisco, my favorite city in the country.
Up in San Francisco, where the forest meets the bridge, I thought I saw you standing there, and then you fell into the well. But that was many years ago, and I am so much older now. My brother is a soldier now. I can't see him anyhow on the hilltop in the wind. And you swimming up tide or just tuning in radio.
Hi guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of the American Road Trip. Episode 15, San Francisco. After 3 weeks or so driving in Northern California, we finally made it to the Bay Area where we spent Thanksgiving week. We have family there in Sonoma County and the actual city, San Francisco, so this time was mostly spent with family and dogs and having a lot of food. Look.
Or just tuning in radio stations.
As you can imagine, I didn't do a lot of exploring, I didn't take a lot of photos, but I still managed to get a few that I actually like. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. But there was one shot that I really wanted to take, one shot that I failed to take in my last 5 or 6 trips to the city. And it's an image of the famous San Francisco fog at the Golden Gate at sunrise. I was really determined to make that image happen. So the first day I woke up really early, I think it was like 4:30 or 5 in the morning. I drove all the way to Marine Headlands, where all the viewpoints are, but yeah, there was no fog. So I tried again the next day, but no fog. By the way, this is an expensive drive because you have to pay the toll at the bridge every time. I think it's like $8. Once again, I drove there first thing in the morning for the 3rd day in a row, but once again, no fog. One of these 3 days, I don't really remember which one, Rachel came with me and we saw a coyote.
Coyote,
Coyote.
coyote, you.
And that was fun, but I still wanted that image of the fog and the Golden Gate and sunrise. So for the 4th day in a row, I woke up really early, I drove there, I paid the toll, and this time it happened. The fog was finally there. So yeah, you can check it out now. I'm gonna play the video, and remember, I'm gonna be talking for a few minutes about some shots after the video, so see you soon. Alright, welcome back. So I have 21 images that I wanted to show you, but it's gonna be real quick, I promise. So for example, this one was taken on the actual bridge, and I was looking up, of course, to this light. I placed the light in the center, as you can see. So that works very well with the square format, or that's my opinion at least. It doesn't work that well maybe with your traditional landscape or vertical photos 3x2 or even 4x5, but I think that it works perfectly with the square format. And I like the contrast between the white, the bright sky and the darker structure and the light itself. The OCD person in me tells me that this structure should be more a little bit higher in the center, and the light is skewing a little bit to the left, but I think that adds a little bit of makes the photo a little bit more dynamic, I guess. Another thing, I went away. Another thing that I believe works very well with the square format is the diagonals, like this one. So this is again the bridge, the structure of the bridge. So I think that something like this, and it's the same concept as before, is a very high contrast between the sky and the structure, and I think this works well too. Another thing that works well, once again, this is all my opinion, I don't know how I like to photograph, it doesn't have to be true necessarily. That's why photography is an art, I guess. It's subjective. This is like a frame within a frame, is like a rectangle within the square, and then you have lines here. So I think that works well too. The photo, I don't really like this photo too much because I was looking for something different. It didn't really work out. I was looking for this inside frame to be much simpler than it is. It has a lot of elements here going on, but still, this photo is another example of the same. It's a combination of the first and the second. It's like the diagonal plus the traffic light here, or the light here, and yeah, pretty much the same. Another example here, this is another shapes within the square format, like this another rectangle, and this strong line here, and all the empty space on the right. So these are just examples to make you think about how to compose in a square format. This is not something that I think of when I'm shooting, it just feels right, and then afterwards you can realize, well, it felt right because this happened and this other thing happened, but it's not something that you necessarily need to be looking for. Anyway, let's move on to these other images. So yeah, as I said, the last day on the bridge or at the Golden Gate, finally the fog came, and yeah, these are pretty easy photos to take. When you are in front of a beautiful place, you just have to point the camera to pretty much anywhere and you're gonna get awesome photos. So this is an example. I wanted to take the contrast between the kind of nature here, like these trees and the bridge. Also, I wish this bridge, the other bridge, this is the Bay Bridge, I believe. I wish it was not here because it adds more complexity to the photo, more elements than I wanted to. But anyway, another thing that I wish it was not here, but I think it's pretty cool, is to see all these, is to see all the people here from the main viewpoint. If you can avoid that viewpoint, I mean, go there to check it out if you want, but if you can avoid it and you keep driving farther, you'll get more viewpoints, and you have even better views. They are farther away, so it's not, you don't have the bridge right there, but it's likely that you'll have many fewer people there. So yeah, once again, point the camera in other direction. In this case, it was of downtown San Francisco. The sun was already pretty high. You can see here in the sky, and it's when it created all these shadows and all these light beams on the fog. And the bay was very cool to see. That is for sure. It was beautiful. So yeah, pretty easy to do these kind of compositions. As you can see, empty space here on the bottom. So you just need to look for what feels right. And in this case, I split the frame in two with the subject on the top and nothing on the bottom. But as I said, it's pretty easy to take photos like this when you are in places like that. the fog came with a surprise because it was for at moments it doesn't look like that thick here, but at moments it was pretty thick. So this boat was approaching from the right, and I didn't see it until the very, very, very last minute. So when I first saw this boat and I was here, it was already going under the bridge, and I didn't have my film camera ready. I didn't have the right lens. I didn't have anything. So I just grabbed my digital camera and took a couple of photos. This one is one of them. It's a landscape photo, as you can see, and as you can see too, it doesn't really work in landscape, the composition, because I have the layers here, this one and this one. So this this would have been a good square photo, but yeah, I just did what I could at that moment. Then I tried to set up my film camera again, but the boat was already much farther away, so it was not under the bridge anymore. But anyway, I got it there, and this one is a better photo, I believe. Still a little bit tight because the bridge is too far to the left, the boat is too far to the right, but it still works. I think it still works. Oh, another one here. This one is better too. Yeah, this one is better. It's like the same photo from before, the downtown San Francisco. The light beams are not that strong here, so that makes it a little bit worse, but has the added element of the boat, I guess. I don't know. So that day, after taking those photos, I went to the other side. I think that it's where the visitor center is, or I don't know. So I don't know if the fog behaves like this every single time, and if it doesn't, I was very lucky because it was just so it was the layer of fog went from the say the sea to the base of the bridge. So I don't know. It was very weird to see. This is actually how or what it looked like in real life, because you could see just a little bit of the foreground, nothing here, but you could see the bridge like it was setting on the fog, like it was not a bridge, it was just, you know, something that it was there. I don't know how to explain it, but I think you can see it in the image. Okay, so as I said, if you keep driving from the main viewpoint, when you go to Marine Headlands and you keep driving farther and farther, you get to you can get to a lighthouse that I couldn't get to because it was closed, but from there you get many viewpoints of the bridge, and you get another cool views like this one. I loved these posts here, the power lines, because the way they were like inclined, this one to the right and this one to the left, like bending. It was very cool. I wish I had a slightly longer lens for this, because the background, something like this. This was my original idea. I saw it there and it was beautiful, but this was my longest lens, so I took advantage of it, or I embraced it, because I didn't have any other option either. And I added like this mountain here. This is Mount Diablo, I believe. I'm not really sure, but I don't know. It was cool to add like an extra layer there. You can see a little bit of Alcatraz here. I might remove that, but yeah, my idea was to take something like this, because I loved those two things there. This is far away, almost getting to the lighthouse that I said. There were some things here, I tried to avoid them, and I think that is too forced, in the sense that it doesn't feel natural to see the photo this way. I don't know, I have to think about it, but I don't love this photo. It was just to try to put more stuff. I don't remember what it was here, but there was more stuff here that I didn't want to have in the frame. And as I said, from there you get many different views of the bridge, like this one with downtown. I think it was pretty cool there, or even this one. And yeah, moving on, this was from Point Lobos and the Sutro Baths. I took a couple long exposures there. Go there, if you go there, it's a pretty cool spot, but if you go there, go early in the morning, if you can, during the week, on a weekday, because it gets packed and crowded on the weekends. And for sunset, if you go there for sunrise or a little bit after sunrise, there's not gonna be many people there. So if you want to take photos like these long exposures and have your time to set it up and actually not have anyone bothering you during the 5 or 10 minutes that these take, go there early. And yeah, the last one, oh no, I still have 3 more. Well, this is the Alcatraz, a long exposure, easy, pretty much almost in the center, the horizon line, but just with the island. I wish the background was clearer or simpler, so it doesn't really work that well for me. I mean, I still like it, but it doesn't really work that well for me. This one, I love the light, how it was coming from the side. So this was at the Fisherman's Wharf, and I just walked around. Once again, this is very early in the morning, so there was pretty much no one, and that was the reason why I was able to take this photo. If you've been in San Francisco, you might recognize this place, this gate, and you know that this place is crowded with people all the time. There was no one there in the morning, so I was able to be here for like 10-15 minutes, seriously 10 or 15 minutes here with no one in front of me, and just waiting for the right moment for these birds to do their thing and fly in front of me. My idea here was to get birds flying in front of the gate like these 4, but not have birds like these 3 here, no, 4, flying in the aperture, in the hole of the gate, or whatever you call this. So I wanted to have the contrast between these birds resting on the top and these ones flying in front of the gate. I did not want any birds here, so I was waiting for the right moment, like 10-15 minutes. But once again, this is not the kind of shot that you might want to take with film, because you only have so many and you can't predict what the birds are going to do. So I just took one exposure and it turned out pretty good. I might still remove these birds to be, I don't know, loyal to what I had in mind at that time, but I think it works out this way too. It adds some, I don't know, makes it more dynamic, I guess. But yeah, that's about it, and nothing else for today. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.